some of us be fucked up too. Cause like some of us be like, man, my dad fucked me up a little bit.
Growing up, like I wasn't taught how to love.
Right.
I didn't see love.
I was in fights all the time.
What?
Boys, girls, men, women. I hit aunts' friends, all kind of stuff back then. because of I had Terry and Amanda behind me.
What are some of the things that are established in your relationship that help strengthen it?
Oof.
Last episode we finished off with some relationship talk, but we didn't actually finish it off. So one question I have remaining is, what are some rules that you guys establish in your relationship that actually help it and make it stronger? Things that you kind of like learn from, you've talked to your spouse about, and you've actually had the conversation. Well, maybe you haven't had the conversation. Maybe it's like an unwritten rule. But what are some of the things that are established in your relationship that helps strengthen it?
Oof.
I think something more recently is, so we used to go, like, we would get into a fight, right? We would go like a week and a half, and we wouldn't talk at all. Like, no words would be exchanged. And then after a while, we both like look at each other and like just smile, like kind of laugh. Like that was like, okay, we're over it. But never talked about it at all. And then later on, it just builds up and then it leads to something else down the road. One of the rules that we've established now is if it's something that we have a disagreement about that day, like we're going to talk about it. Yeah. Not going to let it linger, not going to let it carry over to the next day and not talking. Like, we're going to talk about it now, maturely, resolve it, move forward of it, and understand each other.
Can you always resolve it, though, in the same day? That's the thing.
I mean, I think it depends on what it is, but I think you still need to talk about it,
acknowledge,
and communicate what it is, right? To the point where, like, okay, we can both lay our head down at night and still like not have the pride to not say like good night and I love you.
Yeah.
Right. Like it could be a conversation that can go over a few days, but it needs to be at least initiated that day for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think along those lines, like the thing that we definitely have is the example that we want to set in front of Demi. Like, you know,
is this a talked about or like an unwritten, and we both kind of agree? And
no, like this is talked about for sure. Like, I mean, all y'all know me. I'm a nigga with anger problems, but like for me, it's like something that is always mentally there, no matter how bad the argument gets. Is like, what is Demi seeing right now?
Yeah, and
I think that for us helped us as a couple because now it's like I have a certain temperament about how I go about when we have disagreements and stuff like that. But I think just being able to focus on like what example am I setting for my kid right now has been huge. It's been a game changer for me personally.
Yeah, that's important because now she's going to know in the future, right?
Yep.
Like I think for me, one of the reasons why we would go and not talk was because when I was a kid, like I didn't see that type of communication between adults.
We talked about that.
Yeah, we legit talked about it, right? So, like, I didn't talk about my feelings as a kid. So it's easy for me just to shut down, right? You know, my parents wasn't parents who forced me to talk about my feelings, nor did we even engage about it. It was like, you'll be all right. Like, just move on.
We damn near wasn't allowed to have feelings. Like, growing up.
No, real life.
Like,
that was
like,
all.
Figure it out. And my mama is like people's daddy. Like I had two nigga parents. Like, hey, toughen up, little man. Like that's it. And it's like you go to your room, fight the air for a little bit, and then toughen it up. And I feel like that's the damn difference between us as 90 babies or 80 babies and you damn spoiled ass kids we got too.
Yeah.
I think we're the generation, like we're the good middle piece.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't believe in gentle parenting.
The bridge, yeah.
Right.
But I also don't just give whoopings all the time for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why you look at me like that?
I thought I didn't hear the no reason part. I was like, I give a lot of whoopings. I give a lot of them, but not for no reason.
And also, like, at your age, you got little ones. Like, those ain't really like whoopings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
No, like, as your
Joe,
You got to clarify because to him, just getting popped or something, that's a whooping.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, it ain't the same.
There's
Yeah, but
levels to
that's
whoopings.
what he calls a whooping. That's not a whooping.
No,
But
you
a whooping-
have a strict strict definition of a whooping.
Yeah, you
Me
get
too.
repeated hits with
Yeah.
whatever.
That's why I was
Whatever-
saying he got little ones and ain't really like whoopings like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I think we saying the same thing.
Okay.
And I think he kind of agreed with it too.
Y'all
kinda.
all are saying the same thing for
Kinda.
sure.
Yeah,
100%.
My 1-year-old gets 1-year-old level whoopings,
Yeah.
and my 3-year-old gets 3-year-old level. No, they about the same actually, but yeah. But he been getting it for a minute too.
Yeah. But to your point, you're right. We're definitely the bridge parenting gap. Like, because we're also the ones in, I think we've talked about this before, like, our parents didn't deal with certain shit as adults, and we are dealing with certain shit as adults in terms of trying to, heal and little shit like that. Like, I think that's one of the most important things that's coming from, like, at least with the people that I know, our generation of parenting. Like, because our parents was like, this is the box that I'm supposed to check as being a parent, and I'm not doing all the extra work to figure out the other shit. Like,
Yeah.
my kids gonna abide by these rules, and that's fucking it.
That's it.
I really feel like it's like a generational thing. Every generation of, let's just say dads, for my example, get a new box that they have to check.
Yeah.
Like before our parents, like my dad grew up without a dad.
Yep.
So I think for him, he was like, when I have kids, I'm gonna make sure they provided for,
Yep.
and I'm gonna make sure that they know I'm around.
Yeah.
But he didn't check that like I love you box, or I'm gonna give you a hug, or I'm gonna make sure that you
Yep.
have like the gentleness of like, I know you love me. Like I know my dad loved me, but because I'm tough enough to like see through it this way now.
Right.
But now for us, we gotta be the provider. We gotta make sure we around, but we also have to like we getting a new generation. We have a new task. Like
Yeah.
our task is to make sure that our kids see us as like, my dad cared for me. He loved me. He's there.
Yeah.
He can nurture me
I
just
agree
like my
with that.
mama could, but like in a masculine way.
I think for us, it's like we all grew to have much more appreciation for our dads as we got older.
Yep.
When we became men,
Yeah.
where we are as fathers is we want our kids to appreciate that as they're growing up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? To where it's like they don't always have to like feel only mom can be there for them.
Yeah.
I think also it comes down to like some of us be fucked up too, because like some of us be like, man, my dad fucked me up a little bit, you know what I mean? And you don't want to do that to your kids. I think we just learning stuff from our parents that they got wrong, and they learn stuff from their parents that their parents got wrong. So it's like, do the stuff I was taught, and then they didn't do this shit right. So we need to figure out what I can do better. And our generation is like, I need my kids to feel loved this through the whole time.
The best shit about it though is like essentially it's still going the way that you want as a parent. Like you always want your kid to be better than you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Like, and it's still happening. Like my dad was better than his dad by a long fucking shot. Sorry. But but then, our job is to be better than he was, and he'll tell me bluntly, like, I want you to be better than I was.
That's the sole definition of success as a parent to me.
Yeah.
Like, not even did I set my kids up? Are my kids better than I was?
Yep.
If you could say yes, I feel like you won as a parent.
Yeah.
Like as an adult, I've heard my dad tell me how proud he is of me as an adult versus so much more
For sure.
like as a kid
For sure.
growing up.
Cause they still dealing, like, I feel like our parents dealt with that, like, it ain't done yet. Like, let me not say nothing too early. Cause what if I tell him he doing good and then he like satisfied with the way his life is and he don't go out and get whatever's still left out there for them. But then like once my dad saw me have success, then he was like, okay, now I can feel good about telling you this because you actually understand.
Yeah. Joe, relationship. Let's go back to the original question. Relationship wise, what's some stuff like that you
So it might be for like a different reason, but I kind of agree with Dante. One of the very first things that we had to get together was not like making sure we communicate, but how we communicate. Like, wait, because lower your tone, or who are you talking to right now? if you coming at me like that, then we're not gonna settle nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing is gonna get resolved. And I feel like that was one of the biggest things. You do it for Demi, but we just do it just because it's through one ear and out the other.
Which is a good foundation, though. That's a really good foundation.
I feel like a lot of people do talk about like, well, if I'm in a relationship, we gotta communicate. We're gonna communicate all the time, but nobody stops and thinks like, how am I communicating?
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of the biggest things.
I think a lot of people say that, but then when they get in relationships, they don't have that conversation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Having the conversation is 90% of the battle.
Yeah.
Because there's all the unwritten rules about relationships where it's like, you're not supposed to cheat, right? But if you ask the guy what is cheating and you ask the woman what is cheating, if our definitions don't match, I could be cheating and not know it. Or if it's like, what does it look like to be like caring and to like love on me?
Yeah.
Or to like show affection. If I define it and she define it and they're different, like we could be not filling each other's buckets and checking off boxes on accident, thinking that, and that's how the miscommunication happens. Cause it's like, I've been fucking doing this the whole time for you. And it's like, no, you haven't. But until you have the conversation, it's like, damn, like I thought I was doing good. So I really think that the conversations need to be had on like every level about every topic.
I also think it's a lot of people don't know what they want from their partner in a relationship.
Well, a couple things.
I mean, for men, we always know the top two. We talked about that on the last one. But I think that's a big part of it though.
It
is. Because then like it's expectations. No matter what it is, expectations need to be set. And like it's hard to hold somebody accountable for something. And I hate to sound like a boss, like I'm trying to manage my partner or partner manage me or whatever, but like if expectations aren't set, I can't hold you accountable.
Yeah.
1000%. I really think that this kind of goes into gender roles, and I think it could be a man or a woman thing, but for the most part, somebody in the relationship needs to take the role of like, it's my responsibility to make this engine run.
Yeah.
It's my responsibility when there's a kink to figure it out. Like if we do get to a standstill where it's like, you don't want to talk, I don't want to talk, it's like, it wasn't your job to break that stillness.
Yeah.
It's my job to be like, look, we're about to talk about this or figure out whatever the problem is. And that's one of the things I think I've done a really, really good job of like just establishing like what the rules are. I don't think it has to be the traditional like, the gender role rules.
Right.
You cook and clean, I make the money, you take care of the kids, I tell you what to do. Like it doesn't have to be like that. But for everything that needs to be done in a relationship, like all those roles, but still stuff like finances or who's responsible for breaking the ice. Like there is a role for this, and everybody meaning the two of y'all, all two of you need to understand what the role is, whose job is it, talk about it, and if necessary, write that shit on paper.
Yeah.
I'd ask Danielle.
I get that, but when you say it's a problem, when we bumping heads, you're saying it's only one person that's
it should be somebody's
take
job.
it to the chin.
It's just like if you look at it like an NBA team, it's like, damn, we need 2 points. And like all of us is responsible for getting points. We all need to be able to score. But whose job is it to get these two with the last 30 seconds? It's your job.
What do you mean by when you said take it on the chin?
Not, I used the wrong phrase, but I mean like you're saying it's somebody's one responsibility. Like, hey, we having a problem. Like in your example, we ain't talking. Let me be the bigger person and step up and say something.
I agree because that's the role I'm taking because I don't want to take the chance of it prolonging if I don't bring up the topic and then if she doesn't want to talk about it. But it's like, for me, it's like, no, it's a conversation that needs to be had.
But what about the times where you just, I ain't feeling it.
Don't matter because the expectation was set.
So I do think
that's your expectation.
Yes.
But okay, got you.
Mm-hmm.
Got you.
But I do think relationships ain't ain't 50-50 and it ain't like this is your job only, it's your responsibility.
That's what I was getting to.
But like,
because
if
sometimes
you have,
go ahead.
If you have one of those days where it's like, nah, you fucked up and you've passed the level of where we fucked up before, and I don't know if I'm like coming back from this, she should for sure pick up where you leave off. But if she don't, she didn't drop the ball with the responsibility that's your job. So everybody needs to do their part. Because like if it's like one of them stalemates where it's like, I'm not talking, you not talking, and she just be like using that as a weapon of like, all right, it's his job to fucking say something, so I'm not talking until he does. Like that's not a fair way to be in a relationship. So everybody needs to do a part, but if it get to that part where it's like, all right, action needs to be taken, it's someone's job to say, this is my role, to step in and break that silence.
Yeah, I think, and again, not looking at it from like a gender role perspective, but there should be a sense of responsibility for leadership designated in a relationship.
1000%.
And I think we've talked about this, like leadership is in different facets all over. Like a mom can be the leader of home, dad can be the leader of this, like just understanding, to your point, like you have to have leadership established in the home in order for it to work the way that it needs to work. But that could be leadership of different things.
Yeah.
So I think to answer your question, like maybe the argument, because like, for example, with me and Deja, it's really easy for me to get over shit. Like, so I am the leader of the person that will make sure we break the silence or whatever, because I can wake up the next morning, stretch my arms and be like, oh, something happened yesterday? Like, I have the ability to do that. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, no, nigga, do you not remember that conversation we had last night? And I'm like, oh, that shit? We good. Like,
I'm with Deja on that one. That shit's hard for me. Like, I take some time to get over some shit. Yeah.
I don't. But
Danielle be like, even if it's something I did,
if you
nigga, I could take a nap and wake up and be good. Like,
so what does that look like? So if it takes you a long time to get over stuff, but yet you're the leader, the one that's supposed to come in and squash everything, what does that look like for you?
We don't have many like disagreements. So a lot of time, and this is probably an area where she's like, will step in and help me out. But we don't have a lot of disagreements. But she also like, she knows me good enough to be like, I'll give you your space because it don't bother her whether I'm mad or not. So like, she'll be like, you'll be good tomorrow. But it ain't. But like, my mad also ain't like, I ain't talking to you. It's probably just like, you know, I'm goofy as hell. I'm talking all the time. I talk too much. I'm like, you can tell anybody can walk into a room, and if like I'm not talking, tell if I'm not talking because I'm mad, or if I talking because I'm sleepy, or if they just don't know why. Like, my energy is very different. So it's just like an energy thing. And she'll just be like, give me some time, or she'll be like, let's talk about it. But a lot of times they don't. She just like, she don't be really doing that much wrong. A lot of times, sometimes it be me anyway. So if we used to talk about it, I'd be like, I'm sorry, and then she get over it, and we be good. But we don't have too many, you know, headbutting type situations.
What about you though? What's like a rule for you?
So for me, it's like, it's a lot of shit. Like, over the years, we still to this day establish a lot of rules. And it's like, it's not necessarily rules. It's more like communicate what this looks like for us or what this means. And some, like, honestly, this podcast has helped a lot. Like, one of the things that when I was talking to her about this, I was like, low key, you should, like, people should damn near be writing prenups in the way of like, not if we get divorced, this is what you get and this is what I get. The prenup should be more like, and by the way, prenup means a prenuptial agreement. It's an agreement or a contract that goes into your marriage.
right.
So your prenuptial agreement could literally just be, these are your roles and these are my roles. If I don't do my role, this is what happens. If you don't do your role, this is what happens. Like, I really think that people should establish those things. Sometimes even get it in writing. And then we've always said, like, you should re-up your marriage or your marriage license every 7 years or whatever. Establish like a cadence of like every year, go back and look at this, because we all grow, we all change. These are some of the things that me and her just came up with like last week talking about this. But like some of the rules that have literally helped us is like, what are your sex expectations? Like,
Yeah.
how often is not enough? And if that's not enough, like we need to figure it out. Because for men, or I'm gonna say for me, that is one of the things that will consistently be like, all right, man, I got an attitude right now. So if her expectations like, damn, you get it every week, but my expectations is like, it's been a week. You know what I mean?
Yep,
Like
yeah.
those are
That's the
completely
riff.
different
Yeah.
things. And it's like, if we didn't talk about it and it's like, what is normal? Then you know, we could both be unsatisfied. So we've had that conversation for sure. And it wasn't like a, all right, I need 3. And then you have to say, okay, because this is my role or nothing. It's more like a, we talk about it, we negotiate, and you know, and we come up with something that we both agree on. For her, it wasn't like a 2 is too much or a 3 is too much or whatever. It was like a, all right, like I could do that. But also, you need to do some things that like help me or that make me happy or whatever. So like she also be like, you don't buy me flowers like all that often. So that's something that I like added into there. Helping out around the house. Like it turns into a negotiation. And for some people, I feel like it will seem transactional, but like
Marriage
I
is
don't
work,
think
dude.
I don't think it's transactional.
It's a lot
It
of
doesn't
work.
feel transactional once you into the flow of things. And I think it's just more so if we have an argument about this topic, we can go back and be like, hey, we talked about this. You agreed to this. Let's just get better.
Yeah.
So,
I think it comes down to making sure you guys are filling each other's cups.
yeah.
Like everybody got something different that they need. And when you have that type of line of communication, you making sure that you just pouring into each other as you need. Because as you pointed out, like the same thing looks different for both people.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you pouring into each other's cups.
You got to be intentional
Yep.
about it, right? You know, Dante, you and I, we've been through it.
Yeah.
You know, that's where nothing
No,
like that.
I'm trying to figure out what. Nigga said, what the fuck? What do you mean by been through it?
Separation, divorce.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you meant like y'all got into a fight or something, and then y'all didn't like.
Man, that didn't happen too.
Nah.
Yeah, but I didn't know. Like, I was confused
That's
about
part of
what.
the way of life.
Yeah. That's brotherhood. Okay,
Yeah.
my bad. Go ahead.
But yeah, like, you know, the reason why relationships or marriages fail is because you stop being intentional with your partner and you get complacent, and that's where you fall into being roommates and routine. And it's just, especially like once kids get involved.
Ooh, that's the number one.
Yeah, when kids get involved, especially as they get, when they're younger, but like when they start to get older, like especially like for me, with my kids being in sports and school and the hours that I would work, you know, it was a lot to where like you just get so caught up where you stop dating each other,
Yep.
Yeah.
right? And we were just husband and wife, but like, you know, at one point we were like best friends.
Right.
Yeah, that's such a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get so caught up in this routine where it's like the friendship part of it, like, where did that go?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you start falling out of love where like, okay, you're always going to love the person,
Mm-hmm.
but like, are you still like deeply in love?
Yep.
But so I
You
think-
know what I learned for sure, and something that I didn't think prior to going through it was like, I thought once you had that feeling of like, I'm not in love with you anymore, that you could never get it back.
Mhm.
That's what I used to think. But to your point, having intentionality behind shit changes everything. And I think like if you focus on like, no, I want to make sure like we're always good, it changes the whole dynamic of what that connection is, because it's way too easy to fall into the cycle and the routine. And I think when you take intentionality and then just put that in there, you at least have the self-awareness to be like, why does this feel like this right now?
Mhm. And
What
then-
have I been doing? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And then when you are intentional with it, like these last like couple months for me, like when you do, like to your point of Danielle saying you don't come home like flowers, right? Like it was something simple the other day. Like Mary has this like specific mouthwash that she likes to use, and like I did like an online order for some stuff, and didn't even tell. I just ordered it just because she was just out of it,
Yep.
and like the level of like appreciation that she got by me just going out of the way and doing that,
Yep.
and then like the love that was returned that
Yep.
she showed off of something so small, right? Because like before, like okay, I would get her the fancy bags or
Right.
whatever and stuff like that, or like you think you're doing something, you know, you go on vacations or whatnot, but like that shit like comes like once in a blue moon.
Yep.
But like those little things,
Not only that, but it
Simple
don't really
everyday
mean that
stuff.
much.
yeah,
Like her, you thinking of her and buying that for her is something that
It's
like showed that you
specific.
cared.
mm-hmm.
And you pay attention.
And
Yeah.
the big trip or the bag that was expensive doesn't really show that you cared more, or show like you got it. Or
It's your
Yeah.
like,
birthday. It's an
expected.
anniversary, so
Yeah.
it's expected.
It's
Yeah.
like
Mm.
cool, you did all this. Here's that for
Yeah.
you. Be happy.
Yep.
Yeah, like what do you mean you're not? I don't do nothing for you. I just bought you this couple $1,000 bag
Yep.
versus a fucking.
$1,000 bag.
Don't act like you haven't either.
I have not bought no goddamn couple $100,000. I mean,
whoa.
couple $1,000 bag. I have not.
Versus though, like the $10 mouthwash,
Yeah.
like just it's crazy. Like
Yep.
just the little things that you notice that will get you so much more love from your partner, and vice versa. Like
Yeah.
she's done those things for me
Yep.
now, and it's like, man, like this shit, like because I think for me, like I got to a certain point where it's like I don't really need to feel the love, right? Like I'm,
Really?
yeah. So like I got to the point where like I'm cool with routine because growing up, like I wasn't taught how to love.
Right.
I didn't see love like that, right? Like my dad and my stepmom didn't get married until
He was in high school.
right, like right before freshman year. You know, pops was pops.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know?
For sure.
Mom's never met somebody, and we have a lot to do with that because we.
You taught me them ways.
You know, Nick
Oh no,
came
you're
up.
gonna accept that accountability.
Yeah, you asked me to help you also with your mama. You know, we run
'Cause
motherfuckers out.
I knew what you was capable of.
Yeah. So like
Yeah, help
growing
me with
up,
this.
like
It was Mike and
I didn't
Marcus
see
as
a lot
two-
of love like in the household, right? You know, I didn't see people that love each other. I didn't know people who were like married like that.
Yeah.
So like for me, like, okay, cool. I got my family, you know, we're living decent, kids are good, you know, got the routine going, and that's just how you just fall out of that best friend love with your partner.
Yeah. You know, no, I was just gonna say, you know what's interesting about that? Because I obviously had the other side of it where my parents are, you know, almost 40 years in. But like when I was younger, my dad didn't share how that success happened. So I, on the other hand, even though I got to see it all the time, I was okay with the routine because I'm like, well, my dad goes to work, come home, pays the bills, whatever. Like, I guess that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
But then, like, you get older and my dad's like, no, nigga. Like, there's way more to this than that. Like, and I'm like, oh, well, shit. Why you didn't say something then? Because I'm over here thinking that, well, I guess if it don't work, it don't work. Like, I'm just done. I did my part. I did everything that I saw my dad do.
Mhm.
But it's so much more that goes into it. So I think it's interesting how, like, you can have two different upbringings, but
Yeah.
still as men, we see the same thing as our responsibilities, so to speak, to be able to make it work.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think right now. I don't think I've seen any successful relationship
Yeah.
when I was coming up. I had a stepdad who he was there. He was a body, but I didn't see any love between them. And then I'm even looking at my aunts, my uncles. Nobody had a successful relationship. So me in this, I'm starting from scratch, learning everything. So that is a good point.
We were talking about kids a little bit, and one question I have for y'all is just what, as a parent, like what fears do you have when it comes to raising kids?
I think for me, my number one fear is just that I don't want my kid to like give up. Like, I think there's a certain level of understanding as you get older. And like, we talk about healing journeys and all that shit. Like, I don't ever want my daughter to be in a space to where she feels like this is as good as I can do with any specific thing.
Yeah.
Like, so I think my biggest fear is just making sure that I'm instilling in her, like, you can actually accomplish anything you want to, whether that's external, internal, or whatever. But like, just know that we can work through it.
Yeah.
Cause like there was a portion in my life where I thought certain things either didn't have the answer to it or it was just gonna be like way too fucking daunting of a task to tackle it.
Yeah.
But I just want to show her that ability of like being able to take on anything and still coming out a winner as long as you fucking believe.
No, yeah. I mean, a couple things for me. That's one of them. You know, I think you articulated way better than I would have. In my mind, it was more just like the work ethic.
Yeah.
Like hard work, you know, because they're growing up a lot better than us growing up. You know, like it's funny. Like, I truly believe I have suburban kids.
Yeah.
You know, like they got a real easy life. There's nothing that they've asked for. Well, almost nothing. This motherfucker Julie ain't gonna ask me, can we go to Australia and fly first class? So, like, to my point, like, I don't want these motherfuckers. I don't want these kids just to think like shit in life comes easy.
Yeah.
Like, no,
that's
like,
true.
You gonna have to work your ass, and like, even if dad got it, no, you still need to learn that you got to have some kind of drive behind you also.
Yeah.
Let's stay here real quick for a minute because this is a hard, like, this is a thing that I think a lot of successful people have a problem with. How do you teach your kids, like,
discipline?
Just how do you teach them? What's the word that Coach Q used to always use on with us?
You know, Q.
You probably mumble through them.
Right, yeah. Love you, Q. But halftime, know what the hell you was talking about.
But adversity is the word all the time.
Yeah.
How do you teach your kids adversity when you don't have to?
You have to create it.
You have to manufacture adversity when you're
I
successful.
don't know if you create it, but let them go through something like without taking them out.
So
that's easy.
One thing.
So don't create the problem, but like
I'm not saying create it is like I'm gonna make your life hard, but I'm saying
there's
like
times where creating it is might be needed.
They gonna go through stuff already, so you don't have to create the problem for them. Just you can be their savior, but you don't always have to be their savior.
That's a valid point.
Like,
that's
you
a
don't
valid
have to
point.
create the problem.
Don't always exhaust your resources to get them out of it.
I don't think that's enough though, because when you have kids that like don't struggle with like the shit that I ain't gonna say normal. Our kids are normal, but like their peers, once they get to the real world outside of like school and their neighborhood and their, you know, our kids being friends with each other. Like if you have a kid that goes to college, you're gonna be around so many different kids. How do you teach them
street smart?
How do you get them? How do you
talking about street smart?
How do you get a chip on your shoulder? We got a chip on our shoulder. That's how we got here.
Yeah.
So I think there's a couple different ways at it. As far as the adversity piece, creating adversity, like you can create adversity in your own house, right? Like let's say they come home.
Let me explain after he get done.
I'm about to say,
I don't think the adversity, I'm going to talk probably extreme that you're going to go to, but like, so like, let's say like they come home and their grades aren't where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now adversity is you're not going to get to do the stuff you like to do unless you get your grades up. If I come home and your mama tells you to do something and you don't do it, okay, well now I'm gonna be your adversity.
Oh.
Yeah, right? So like I think there's ways you can create adversity like that. I think another, and I'm a big believer in sports.
Mm-hmm.
Kids that play sports, because like it's tough for like a parent to be the only voice.
Yeah.
Of reason, the only voice of discipline, the only voice of structure.
The only perspective too.
Yeah. Like putting kids in sports, I think helps create a lot of that.
Yeah.
Now you have to find the right team and the right coaches and all of that. But I think to answer your question, that's one, I don't want to say easy way, but that's one of the first ways I think of on how to get that.
So I don't think it's enough though. Like I think okay, maybe not enough, but I think there's the more adversity that you give that they actually overcome, I think the better off they will probably be. For me, the kind of adversity I see myself creating for my kids is like, Dad, I want these $200 Jordans. And I'll be like, you don't have $200 something. Yeah, but I got straight A's and I do this and that. We do give you shoes, we do whatever, but you want something that's outside of the norm.
Yep.
So what do you want to do to get your $200? I can help you set up a lemonade stand. I can help you go door to door to sweep up some leaves. I can help you do whatever. But you're going to figure out how to get it because now this is a lesson that you're going to learn that everything ain't just given to you because you were born into the right family.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things of adversity that I'm thinking.
I think.
But I'm still wondering, is that enough? Because
No.
like,
Dang,
I-
what is
I
enough?
think it's.
Yeah, but I
think-
also think you're discounting the parent side of it too, right? Like our message also combined with all that stuff we talked about, like our kids ain't gonna be able just to talk to us any type of way. They're not gonna be
I
able to get.
said my kids get their ass beat.
They
already.
not gonna. They not gonna be able
Why
to
do you
do.
sound so abusive on here?
They do.
And
they don't
it's-
get
it's
beat.
not enough. Huh?
They get in trouble. They don't get beat. Your kids don't get beat, dog.
They ain't having whelps and stuff.
Exactly.
Whelps like I had
Like,
when I was a kid.
I
used to get
just
beat.
want the audience to know you ain't got little toddlers
Hey,
running
shit,
around
they
with
get no way to
whelps.
get dealt with, man. They did their own bed. I had welts, okay?
Oh, I did too.
My
Shit.
I ain't giving my kids no welts. Not no time soon and not on purpose. But if you get, do what you gotta do. Welts come from belts. Like it's going if you
And
whoop your
extension
kid.
cords and everything.
See,
else.
you had some too.
No, I never got the extension cord though. Nah.
You had some welts.
I got a tree branch though.
You have to pull your own switch.
I
was
was
in the-
from Texas.
I was about to say you was really in the South.
Hell yeah.
I just had belts and fists.
I thought the switch was done with by the time we
Are you
was around.
are you gonna fight
Anyway.
like fight your kids? Your
Okay,
son,
real
your
quick.
son.
Wait.
Y'all got daughters.
Before we get all the way
All
there,
right.
because we going to
Also-
fist to fist to your kids. Can you?
Like where I was going,
Yes.
like to the point of you saying like, what's enough?
Yeah.
Our kids are going to get told no
Right.
Yeah.
by us.
That's adversity
That's
too.
up here though. I need them to I
No,
want them to
you
have a
don't. You
similar
don't. You don't
experience.
understand. Like a lot of these kids
Mhm.
who are like at the same level, like where like their parents are where we are.
Mhm.
They don't get told no.
Yep.
These kids,
No matter what,
That
Yes.
don't mean that that's just
I'm telling you, bro.
bro.
that don't make it enough
You're
for my kids.
discounting.
Though.
You are discounting this so much. You're discounting that aspect so much. Like there's so many, and you talked about
I
it when
was
we
just
talked
about to
about the
say that.
kids. Like
The-
they want you to go to prom and have the time of your life, and they come home with
You
C's
don't,
and
and
D's.
you don't even have to be well off or in the same status as y'all. Like now it's just all kids. They never get told no. So when you do tell them no, they looking at like what why you tripping? Like why I gotta do this? Why I gotta do that? They're set up with parents that are not gonna tolerate that.
That's bare minimum to me though.
to you,
what
but
is
you're not
what
an
is
average
enough?
nigga.
Because
what
what I'm
I'm
saying
trying
is
to
like the people that accomplish the most, the people that are the most driven, the people that got a chip on their shoulder, the people that are at the top of their circle.
Because they have something to prove, is what you're saying.
Sometimes it's that, but sometimes they have more discipline, or sometimes they have more drive, or sometimes they have more ambition. Like, how do you manufacture those things?
You know what I
we
think?
listed quite a few things.
No,
that
but I
does
don't think being told
manufacture.
no is gonna make me feel like, you know what? I'm gonna be the best, whatever the fill in the blank.
I think
think
I
that's
have a
gonna be-
good
I
idea.
disagree with you because you've been told no and you've proven over and over and over again that
I've
you,
also been broke, like
I feel-
really broke.
But do you have to?
Can't eat.
Can't
But do they have to
eat.
experience everything the exact same way as you in order to appreciate or have ambition?
No,
or have
I don't
drive
think
or
I don't
anything
think it
like
has
that?
to be like I don't think my kids have to go like live broke. I mean, I didn't live broke, honestly. Like if we being honest, I wasn't like broke.
We did.
But like relative
Bro.
speaking to my parents raising me versus how what I have raising my kids is broke. There was times where like we eat at each other's house because sometimes that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
but there's also an element to it also where like our kids will see how hard we work as well, and that will be instilled in them.
I don't necessarily
enough.
think
That's
that.
not enough.
I don't.
But
I
I'm not
don't necessarily
saying,
think that.
you were just
I was,
joking.
no, I was saying mocking
Yeah,
you.
but like, I don't think nothing's enough for you then, because everything
No,
we're saying, you're like, it's not enough. It's
That's
not
what I'm
enough.
trying to figure out what
there's a
help.
small thing, and it's not too far off from what we've been discussing already.
Okay.
But like when I think about me and how I grew up, like we didn't struggle because my dad was in the military. Like they provide you housing. Like there's a bunch of shit that you get with that.
Yeah.
But like when it came to my dad instilling work ethic and understanding the value of work, it was about making us do the shit that we didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Washing his
That's-
car every fucking Saturday.
See,
like,
now we getting
and then there was
somewhere.
levels to it, right? So like if you
Detailing that
basic,
motherfucker.
yeah, if you basic wash my car, you get $20. If you wash my car and you add a little bit extra, you get 40. If you wash my car and you wax it, you get 60. Like
Yeah, that kind of stuff when your parents together.
but I'm saying like
we had chores and I ain't getting nothing.
I ain't get a damn.
but washing my dad's car wasn't a chore. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, because that was
Okay,
above
okay,
chores.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
above chores. Like we had to clean our room. We had to
Yeah.
make sure the house was clean and all that shit. But my dad's like, hey, there's an extra way to get some money, but it's not exactly what you like to do.
Yeah.
You're gonna be in 120-degree heat, and I better not have no spots on my shit.
Yep.
Like you know what I'm
We go
saying?
Uncle
Like,
James.
that's where I think you can instill that adversity because it's like, how bad do I really want this shit?
Exactly.
I do want this $60,
I got,
but I don't want to fucking wax this car.
Right.
Like
you gotta do what you gotta do.
But I gotta do
But
what I gotta
I'm
do.
trying to go to the dance the other day, and I'm trying to pull these girls' numbers, and you gotta do what you gotta
Exactly.
Okay, so you and your brother,
Yeah.
right? Do you think you will have that same level with Demi, your daughter?
do. Wait, I missed it. What is the
Like
question?
the same level of instilling that like work ethic.
Oh, like
Is
will
she
she
gonna
go
have
through
to
what
do-
he went through?
Yeah.
Right. Is she
Well,
gonna have
you
to do
put-
the same
I mean,
thing
she's
no
not
matter
gonna
what?
have to wash my car.
But if you had a son,
But
you probably would.
yeah, probably.
So that's my point. Like,
Well, actually, I don't know because now I'm real particular about like the way that the car is clean. I don't know if I would assign that to my kids.
You backpedaling now.
Yeah,
You
right.
backpedaling.
but to your point, like I think I have to strategize it different with Demi, and it's only because like I still want her to like understand that there may be times that you have to do shit that you don't want to do, but I also like if I could get my fucking car cleaned, I could get my car cleaned. Like, let me find something else for you.
I think the answer to this is there's double standards when it comes to
Yeah, there
raising the
is.
son and the daughter.
Yeah.
And that should have just been your answer of like, she probably not going to get what you got as far as what's required, but you got to figure out a different way,
Yeah.
or is because I have a daughter. I think that's the answer for me, because if I had one, I think that's
Because
I
hers,
got a question for you though, because you saying they don't necessarily have to go through what you went through
hmm
to learn ambition and stuff like that.
hmm
But where are you gonna draw the line? Because you keep saying that ain't enough. That's not enough.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna draw the line to where they don't get older and be like, man, we had it, but I couldn't get it, to where they resent all the stuff that you created for them, because now we creating adversity.
Yeah. I feel you. It's a tough line. It's hard. That's why I'm like, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that.
You don't think you could just teach them by like telling them, showing them what you went through, and like
I don't think so.
the stuff that they already gonna go through, letting them go through it, as opposed to it's not enough, so let me do this or let me make you do this.
I
'Cause I
don't.
think- I
You know
think-
why I don't think that will work for him though? Because, and I've always told you, this is one of my main things that I love about you as my brother. Like, you have this fucking, your standard is up here.
High expectations.
Your
yeah.
standard is up here, and you don't come off of that shit. And that's why I don't think that'll work for his kids, because he gonna be like, it's not a fucking enough. Like, it's
I feel like I'm also like talking a little harder than I really am right now. Like, I think this is how I feel, but I don't know if I act the same. Well, but I got a 3-year-old as my oldest too, so I don't know. But in my mind, they're gonna have to do a bunch more stuff if you want to be able to. And then if you can work hard, if you can be disciplined, if you can, show that you earn, I want to give you any and everything. I want you to have the world.
Yeah.
But I just don't want you to think that you can have it because I have it. You're poor and you don't have anything.
Let me
I'm not poor.
Yeah.
A different question, right? Because you don't know what it is enough as a parent to make the kids be how you want them to be as an adult.
Yeah.
What do you expect from your kids as kids to let you know that they're on the right track?
Like, what would be the...
That's a good ass question.
How do you check that box or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Right. Like right now, you don't know if you're going to do enough for them to turn into the adult you want them to be.
Yeah. And this is probably like one of my fears right there. But for me, I think it's like my answer is I'm trying not to make it a moving target, but it's a continuous thing. It's a marathon. Like there's not a end. There's not a success point of like, I made it.
No, he's saying on track though. Like, how do you know? How do you
like
identify as their parent?
Getting older.
For me, it's not it. You on track by being like born in the right family, not because of money or anything. Because of what you're saying, we're gonna be disciplined. We're gonna make sure you. So really, it's gonna be how do I know you're off track? If you're following the rules because you don't really have a choice not to, you're on track. So my kids are gonna be on track regardless. And then if they're off track, that's what I'll know. So by default, they're on track.
But I think he's talking about like how do you know that they're actually learning the things that you want them to learn, and that chip, that adversity, this stuff that you talked about.
I don't think I'll know.
I think you will.
I don't know yet.
Like,
but
let's say they're respectable kids,
mm-hmm.
right?
That was where I was headed first,
right?
For sure.
They're in public, they're respectable, they're well behaved.
Mm-hmm.
They get their good grades in school. Whatever extracurricular activities you have them in, they're excelling in those. That's why I said extracurricular. I didn't say just sports.
Yeah.
Right?
You might be a piano player.
Okay, but that's fine though, right? So,
absolutely.
Like, what is it that you are afraid of that your kids aren't going to be doing the right way?
So you can do, for me, this is a good question. You can do all of these things and put yourself in the position to be the best at it. But if you're not the best at it, but you are your best, that's enough for me. I'm not saying I need my kids to be presidents and the number one draft and all of these things. I'm saying I need you to put in the effort that I
give maximum
when I had to do it when I was your age.
Yeah.
Because that way you're putting yourself in the best position to be happy and to get what you want out of it. You don't have to, success ain't being the best. When I say it's not enough, not enough ain't like you didn't reach the height that you were supposed to. Not enough is like you didn't put the effort in that you were supposed to.
But then, like, because I'm confused then with like why you think all the different parenting
things
tactics
is not enough.
Because
like I know you believe like the stuff I just named, your kids are going to be that.
Yeah.
With how you're going to raise your kids.
That's the baseline. You don't have a choice on those things.
Right, but like if you're doing those things, you're generally going to be a successful person.
I mean, I'm not okay. So it's not about success. It's more about
just
what effort you're putting in and like what are you putting into the world? Are you contributing? Are you being a good person? Are you doing those things? And it's not necessarily about success.
Would you say that?
I got a good example for you real quick. I got a brother. And this is maybe not the best example because I got a different mama than he got. We were raised in two different households. But my daddy's held us both to, you going to be respectful. You going to follow these rules.
Which brother we talking about?
John.
John don't fit those three things that I named.
As on what? That's the point that I'm making. Right. That's the point that I'm making.
No, but
he was held to the same rules. My fear is I have a kid. So
yeah, no, but that's different though because it wasn't the same rules because your mama
had more of an influence
and his mama.
Yeah,
I hope I don't get nobody in trouble saying this. Also, wasn't the same. It was not the same.
It's not. So that's why I say it's probably not the best example. But my answer to the original question of like, what are your fears? my fears of like raising kids is like that I have 2 kids that don't feel like they went the same route. Like you have one that excels in something, and then you have a mediocre or less kid. Like that is like
That's very possible.
it's very
I
possible.
have plenty of examples that in my family.
Yeah,
Like,
I have like
but I will say this though: the examples of those that I have in my family, they didn't have the best parents.
Okay.
Where it was like they had, okay, I got to choose 2 different paths.
yeah.
Either I'm gonna do the path that where I'm not gonna fall victim to this, or I'm gonna take this path where I do fall victim to this.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you're like, because you kept talking about your baseline, you know what I'm saying? And I think those are pretty, commendable baseline items. But I was wondering if you were more scared that since your kids are coming into this good family, like they don't have the gratitude for like certain things. And now that wipes out their want to want to work hard because it's like, I don't really got to do that shit because this is what I come from. And based on the things that I started this life with, I'm going to be successful anyway.
I think that's part of like the best example of it is like when you have and the best examples for me are going to be extreme. Obviously, I'm not Michael Jordan. But
Right.
like if I'm Michael Jordan and I came up not so good and I made it to success and then I have kids and they don't have to work hard. Like I don't want them to come up short because of my success.
I don't think you have to worry about that. Just knowing you and I don't think
But I think anytime you have a fear or maybe not a fear, but anytime you have something that is in your mind that you need to work hard to make sure your goal is accomplished, I think you don't have to worry about it. It's the people that don't think about it and don't like it's not in the back of their mind that they're working towards, where it'd be like, damn, I have a 20-year-old, I need to help try to fix this. But you wasn't thinking about it for 20 years. So I agree.
Right.
Like if this is on your mind, top of mind for you, you should be good.
You'll be fine.
Already.
Yeah.
I think we already kind of going a little bit long, so I'm gonna finish it off with this last thing. It's kind of the same topic as like actually you asked this question. What are some of the lessons that you for sure want to make sure kids learn?
Yeah.
That like if you learn nothing else, maybe not even if you learn nothing else, like what are some of the things that just are most important lessons that you have?
This is
before you go though, I kind of want to hear from you. I know you don't have kids yet. Do you plan on having kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it's good to hear from Javon because he works with kids.
That's what I was gonna say. Like,
I think, well, me personally, I tell people this all the time. When I was younger, it might not seem like it now, but I was immortal, invincible. Like I could do anything. Fights. I was in fights all the time.
what?
Boys, girls, men, women. I hit aunts' friends, all kind of stuff back then. Because though, I had Terry and Amanda behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's necessarily a lesson,
Who
but
is
one
that?
thing, those are my mom and dad.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's a lesson, but one thing I would want them to know and feel is like I'm behind you,
I got your
100%.
back. Yeah.
And because of that, I was able to do anything.
Move freely.
I was fearless.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Like, just know that I got you. I might not agree with everything that you do, but at the end of the day, you mess up, I'm still here. You do good, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one for you because your work and the way you live your life already explains that.
Absolutely.
Like you be looking out for kids in your classrooms that don't deserve the grace. And then afterwards you correct them and get them right. And then you make sure you build them up. So I feel like
what's crazy, what probably makes me feel so strongly about it, most of the young adults, like my oldest students are like 26 now. The reason why they are attached to me is because they didn't come from households that were like that. So,
you're damn near a father figure for some people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm for real.
Yeah.
I don't want mine to have to go through that.
Yeah.
And the second is the spiritual aspect. Spirituality. You got to know word. You got to know some of the Bible because when I'm not there, that's what you're going to fall on.
Yeah. That gave me some like real Simba and Mufasa like I ain't always gonna be here for you. So you need to figure it. You need to know.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a list that I wrote down after you asked me that, but it's too long and too much. So I'm gonna hit one or two of them, but I'm gonna let you go.
That's my problem. I got a lot, but I think, you know, I kind of made them fall under kind of buckets, so to speak. It kind of touches on what Joe touched on, but like number one is like never limit yourself. I think that's something that I wouldn't say was exactly instilled in me. Like I kind of had to explore that for myself.
Yeah.
Like take it a little bit past whatever my parents thought their expectation of me being successful was.
Yeah.
So I think never limit yourself. But I would say number two is just raising a young woman. I think it's extremely, extremely important, even though it's super cliche. Like you need to learn how to love yourself.
Yeah.
Like I don't want her to look for love anywhere else outside of herself. If it comes into her life and it's great for her, I'm all on board. But I never want her to be searching for certain things from someone else because she feel like she doesn't have it within herself.
Yeah. That's very important with daughters for sure.
Yeah, I'd agree. That part I agree 100%, especially like with Jade.
Yeah.
Jade's the chocolate one
Yeah.
in the household.
Yeah.
And sometimes, she gets a little insecure about it.
Really?
So, yeah.
I did not know that.
Uh-huh. So, like, have to constantly, like, remind her over and over and over again. Like, it was fun. We went to Orlando. Julian and Mary was getting bit by mosquitoes, but we weren't.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I said, oh, babe, that's because we darker than them.
Yeah. There's power in this, baby.
There's power in it, right? Or even like just with her hair, right? Her hair's so curly and it's so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. And sometimes, she sees the straight hair. Like that's like one thing, like very adamant on her loving her hair.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that part. One thing for me with the kids is I want them to always understand that they have a voice. Like I don't ever want them to feel that they have to be quiet or they can't speak up for themselves in any situation.
Yeah.
That's something that I think I struggled with at times, especially like at work and being afraid of if I say this, like how is like what's going to be the reaction to it, what's going to be the repercussions of it. And I've learned that, I've said some shit and I'm still where I'm at.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
By not like silencing myself.
Yep.
And now like my superiors, my bosses, like they respect me for it as a leader.
Yeah.
And they thank me for my openness
Yep.
and everything. And like being able to show that to the people that work with me that you can still be yourself, still have your voice. So like that's something I want my kids to make sure that they understand they can have.
For sure.
Do you
That's
think
deep.
that I think you kind of just alluded to this, but do you think that is something that you wish you were taught, and because you weren't taught it, you want to make sure your kids have it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like my dad to this day, like he's always stressed about work. He's always doesn't know what's going to happen with his bosses and he'll silence himself. Like he won't speak up as much.
Yeah.
Right. My mom doesn't have it as much, but still, being a female working amongst men, there's certain times where she doesn't speak up as much as she should.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So like, I think it's just something that when I would talk to my parents about work and stuff like that, like they wouldn't always be as upfront with how they were feeling about certain things. I think that kind of inherited that without knowing it.
Yeah. I have like a really like strong example of that as well, but it's like a deeper topic that I'm definitely writing down for the next time we talk about like relationship stuff, because I feel like I struggle with that and try to like teach that same thing, but it's not something I feel like I've mastered though. So for me, I have a list of 10 things, and I think the number one thing that's on here though is to know who you are, but then to act accordingly. So what I always try to teach my sons is that you're a king and that you are a king for a reason. everything that is like that you are, your heritage, your culture, your family, all reflect who you are. But that's just part of it. The bigger part for me is act accordingly. So if you're a king, you need to be stepping like one. And then it goes a little further than that to me too, because it's not just you are a king. It's also you know who you are more than I know who you are. So if you don't like a certain situation, or if something really means something to you, like stand on that shit. And like when you know who you are, act accordingly. If you not letting somebody talk to you crazy, if I'm talking to you crazy, like do what you got to do. Know what you willing to like fight for. Know what you willing to die for, and act accordingly.
Talk to you. Talk to you.
I'm the law around here.
Talk to my kids crazy. I'm the one person that can.
No, so this is a rule that I had to tell Danielle to hold me accountable to. Is I want my kids to be able to make decisions, like as long as they know the consequences of each way of their decision. As long as they know, they should be able to make decisions with no limits, freely. So if I'm telling them this is a rule and they don't want to agree to it, these are your consequences for not agreeing to it. At 3 and 5, it's like, yeah, it's belt to ass, you know what I mean? But you know, if you turn 13 or whatever, like remember this rule that you've always had. If you don't want to listen to it, it's probably still belt to ass then. But then that don't mean that if they don't change it, it's like, all right, you either gonna keep whooping me or what? To me, it's gonna be like, all right, if you don't want to live by the rules of this house, you gotta figure it out on your own. I'm not saying I'm kicking my kids out. I'm saying I don't think they're gonna go that route. Yeah. But if it comes down to it, the biggest thing is, you know, that you have the power to make any decision. And as long as you figured out what the consequences are, you should feel empowered to make either way, to choose either way.
100%.
Just know who you are and then act accordingly. I don't want you to like feel like this is who I am, but I can't do that right now.
Yeah. So. No, that's big. I like it. I
All
think there's just one last thing, like, because it's just like lingering in my brain because I had to learn this as an adult. Like, along with my kid not limiting herself, I also need her to understand that she's not in control of everything. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like my life took a certain trajectory where I had to understand, like, no matter how hard I work, no matter how much I do everything, God's still in control. And so I can try as hard as I can, and I can damn near kill myself trying to do it. But if God don't have it in my plans, it's not going to happen. And I need her to be okay with that and learn how to accept that, but silence her own self enough to be able to listen to his voice and understand where she needs to go from there.
That was one of the biggest lessons I learned.
Yeah.
One of the biggest ones. So it's
hard, bro. Like that journey, that journey will set you straight like a
That's a good one. We might need to bring that back too, because like as soon as you said it, I had some contrary feelings of like, I don't know. I feel like they should feel in control of everything. But I think it's more of a control what you can control.
Yes.
Yeah.
And outside of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
Make sure if you guys are listening, like, subscribe, follow, share, do everything else, comment.
Comment, definitely. We love the comments.
We appreciate y'all being here for the Bros Group Chat. Peace out till next time.